Good Monday morning to everybody. You had a great weekend and ready to start your new week. And what better way to start the week than with some Stratomatic and some coffee? Gotta have the coffee. We have now made it to May 25th, the new date on the schedule. It was a Monday in 1987, Monday, May the 25th. So that's kind of appropriate that we have a Monday here to go along with it. Admittedly, not the most stellar matchup in the world, but I am trying to go east to west on the geography. So Boston, the home team that has the furthest east is Boston, and that's where we're at. We're at Fenway Park in Boston between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox. This is a something's got to give game. Tom Candiotti, the starting pitcher for Cleveland, is 0-5 in the replay. Bruce Hurst, the pitcher for Boston, is 1-5 in the replay. So something's got to give here. Not sure what it is, but something has to give. You see, I did the. This is when I was typing out the other score sheet from last week. I flipped it over because it's two-sided and typed this game in. So this will be the last. After this, I'll be back to handwriting. But I just figured while I was doing the one, I might as well do the other. We are game number 292 on the season replay. Fenway Park, hitter friendly. Singles 1-19 for left, 1-15 for right. Home runs 1-7 left, 1-10 for right. Tom Candiotti is a 13 wild pitch and a 4 balk. Bruce Hurst has a 3 wild pitch and a 2 balk. Hurst a -3 pitcher catcher hold quotient, but Tom Candiotti a +3. So big difference there, holding runners. But I don't think Boston has a whole lot of guys that run, but Cleveland does. So very much more important, I think. Well, got a little bit of a circle there for a second, but I think it cleared up. So hopefully the internet won't give me any problems. We'll find out. Hopefully it won't. Another sip of coffee before I get going, just to make sure we're all straight. Hello, Philip. Hello, Jeff. And hello, Tim. Tribe fan. I still call you Tribe fan. I don't care. I see your Guardians made the epic comeback. I think it's the largest comeback ever in the history of baseball. To be as far back as they were and then still win the division. That was pretty cool. I saw the game on Saturday where I got a walk-off hit by pitch. I don't know the guys that well. I mean, the players, other than maybe Jose Ramirez. He's but the only guy I've ever heard of on that team. Because like I said, I don't follow the new baseball all that much, so I don't know. We'll wait and see if the Guardians get selected in the 2025 Demolition League. We shall find out. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet. If I'm going to do 10 random teams and just make it completely random, or whether I should have a vote for it, or whether I should pick them. I don't know. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet. But that's way off. So we got 5 months or so before I have to worry about that. So, all right. So Bruce Hurst on the mound for the Red Sox. He is a left-hander, and he'll be facing this lineup: Butler, Franco, Tabler, Carter, Castillo, Jacoby, Snyder, Bernazard, and Dempsey. And before we get going, I went ahead and printed off the standings in both divisions. And you can see Milwaukee and Toronto are in a dead heat for first place in the American League East, although by percentage points, Milwaukee, because of the fewer losses, has a slight percentage point lead on Toronto. The Yankees just a game back in Detroit. We used this term in the streams before about what's the word for it? It's not lingering, loitering. It's there's some other term, lurking. So Detroit is lurking at 4 games back, 6 games back, but in 4th place. But hey, they're still 1 game ahead of where they were in real world, and they won the division. So they're still in good shape, no question about it. In the West, it's just a free for all, except for maybe Seattle. Everybody else is in it. I mean, even California, 20 and 23, there's only 3.5 games back because nobody is taking charge. Nobody's taking the reins to take charge. So in the previous 291 games, the home team actually has a losing record. 144 for the home team, 147 for the visiting team. And somebody put a post out on Facebook about this. I'm not sure if it's about Strat or just games in general, where they said, the games don't really give you a home field advantage, and they were trying to come up with home brews for home field advantage about re-rolling D20s or something like that. I just didn't do that. So, but anyway, I thought it was interesting that the home team has a losing record. And oddly enough, on the losing streaks and winning streaks, no one's got a losing streak of more than 2, and no one's got a winning streak more than 2 as well. Baltimore and uh, Baltimore and Seattle have lost 2 in a row. Cleveland and Oakland have won 2 in a row. And so has Toronto. But really, nobody's on a long streak right now. Today is in the replay. It is May 25th. So tomorrow, May 26th, Paul Molitor will be back for the Brewers. He comes off the injury list, and I know the Brewers will be looking forward to that. Hello, Chuck and Jeremiah. Good to see all of you. Cool. I remember that's a name from the past, Fukudame. That's definitely a name from the past. I didn't know they DFA'd Carlos Santana. I did not know that. I guess Carlos Santana's about ready to retire. He's been around forever. All right, so one last sip of coffee, and we're ready to go. But I thought I'd give the standing just so people were curious and asking me about standing. So when we get to the end of May, that's when I'll do a season recap as to where we're at so far. Once we get to that milestone of the end of May, and before we head into June, I'll do a complete standings, statistical leaders, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Brett Butler will lead things off for the Cleveland Indians, and I'll bring his numbers on the thing. Before we start, Bruce Hurst on the replay is 1-5 with a 6.63 earned run average. Real world, he was 15-13 with a 441. So obviously he's off to not the best start in the world to his replay. And he is so far pitched 58 innings, but given up 77 hits. So I don't know what his whip is, but that's pretty bad. 27 walks and 53 strikeouts. And he's got to face Brett Butler to lead things off for Cleveland. Butler on the replay is hitting .409, but he's only had 93 at-bats because he was injured for a while, so he does not qualify for the league leaders yet. He hit .295 real world. And we're underway from Boston, 4-6, and that's a strikeout for Bruce Hurst right off the bat. Nice start for Hurst with the strikeout of Butler. And here comes Julio Franco, the shortstop. He's hitting .302 on the replay, 2 homers, 24 driven in. He hit .319 in the real world season of 1987. .39, I guess a lefty, and that's a base on balls. So Hurst starts out with a strikeout and a walk. Hurst, again, is a -3 pitcher-catcher quotient when you had the -1 from Gedman and the -2 from Hurst. So if Franco wanted to get a lead, he needs a 2 through 5. If he gets the lead, he starts with a 19, so it's a pretty good gamble. But he doesn't get the lead, so it's irrelevant. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Pat Tabler. Tabler hitting .355 on the replay, 4 homers, 26 driven in. He hit .307 real world. The 410 for Hurst against the righties. A fly ball center field X, that's Ellis Burks. It's a 2E5, so he should get to that, you would think. Double die is a 6, so Double die is trying to come up early here, but I think 2 and a 6 is still going to be okay. It will. It's an F2. That's a 15, and Burks is an E5. It still should be okay, you would think. Yep, 16 and 17 and 18s are errors, but not a 15. So Burks is able to make the catch for out number 2. And that'll send us up to the ever-struggling Joe Carter playing left field. He's gone from first base to left field and back and forth. He's in left field for this one. On the replay, he's hitting .179, 7 homers, 13 driven in. He had .264 real world. Nothing on the habit. 1-7, and that's going to be a strikeout, and Carter's struggles continue. So that's going to end the inning. This is more like the resistible force meeting the very movable object, because neither team is very good, but that's something that's got to give bowl here, All right, here's Tom Candiotti on the real season. He was 7-18 with a .478 earned run average. And on the replays, 0-5 with a 5.40. 52 innings pitched, 56 hits, 29 walks, and 36 strikeouts. Leading off for the Red Sox, there'll be Ellis Burks on the replays, hitting .211, 3 homers, 9 driven in. He hit 272 real world. Righty on righty, 4-7. And that's a base on balls from Candiotti. And he's a +3, so Burks is going to be looking to run. Looking to get that lead. He needs a 5 or a 6. Does not get it. Came up just short. So that'll bring up Marty Barrett. He is an A bunter. But boy, do you really want to bunt in Fenway Park? You're just giving up an out here with all this offensive ballpark effects plus the poor pitching of Candiotti. But McNamara says, what the heck, we're going to bunt. So they're going to bunt. 5, so the infield is back, so he will keep an A bunter. I'm using Mr. Guterman's rule there on the, or his little home brew where you roll 4, 5, or 6, the infield, the corners are back. 1, 2, or 3, the corners are in. So they're going to be back, so it's going to be an A bunter. So really the only bad bunt he can have is 11 or 12. Roll the dice here. 1 means it's going to be fielded. 1 says it's fielded by the pitcher, Candiotti. And that's a 6. So that's going to be defense. So defense has a choice here. But the runner Burks is a 17. Candiotti's defense, he's a 3. So that'd be a 1 to 16. He'd be safe. So they're just going to take the shore out. And it's going to be a sacrifice hit 1 to 4. So Barrett drops down the bunt successfully. Burks now at second with 1 out for Wade Boggs. Boggs on the replay, hitting .345, 9 homers, 19 driven in. He hit .363 real world. 6-3, ground ball pitcher X right back to Candiotti. He's a 3-7. So we'll see what happens on that. Devil Die is a 5. Boy, I tell you what, Devil Die is just starting the week off early for the Devil Die. No question about it. He's a 3-5 or 3-7. So a 3 and a 5 for a pitcher is a G3, so the runner will advance. But this is a 16. That could be problems. E7 and a 16. But there is no 16 there, so it's just going to be a good play. 1 to 3 ground out with Burks going to third. But now there's 2 outs for Don Baylor. And actually, the way that turned out, I think Cleveland will take that deal every day of the week with Boggs up there. If you can get the out, and all it costs you is 90 feet on the base paths, I think they'll take it. Here's Don Baylor, the designated hitter. He's hitting .247 on the replay. 5 homers, 22 driven in. He hit .245 real world. Burks at third, 2 down, clutch situation. And in the clutch for Baylor, he is completely neutral. 5-7 is a ground ball second base X. We are going to depend on Tony Bernazard to make the play, and he's a 4-E22, so that could be testy, to say the least, especially with the Devil Die. But the Devil Die is a 10 this time, so it cooperated. So 4 and a 10, he'll get to that. We'll worry about the error in a second. 4 and a 10 is a G3 pound, but nobody's being held on, so it's good to go there. He's an E22, and that is a 15. This is where you run into problems. E22, but there is no 15. There's 12, 18, and 17, so he caught a break there. And so Candiotti escapes the first inning without any damage done. He's able to retire Baylor on the ground out to Bernazard. And at the end of 1 complete here at Fenway, we're still tied at 0-0. Carmen Castillo getting a rare start today as the designated hitter against the lefty Hurst. Castillo on the replay hitting .250, 2 homers, 6 driven in. And guess what? On Real World, he hit .250, 11 homers, and 31 driven in. That's a 6-7, and that is a 1-12 single, and the Devil Die is a 6. Castillo gets the base hit, first hit of the game for either team. Comes courtesy of Carmen Castillo. He is not a threat to run, so it will not be held. Here comes Brooke Jacoby. He's hitting .335 on the replay, 6 homers, 24 driven in. He hit .300 Real World, around the number. That's a 2-7, and that's a base on balls. So second walk issued by Hurst, and now Cleveland maybe has Hurst a little bit in trouble. First and second, nobody out for Corey Snyder. Snyder in right field, as usual. Hitting 238 on the replay, 5 homers, 18 driven in. He hit 236 real world, so he's right on his numbers also. 1-7, that's a strikeout. Big strikeout there for Hurst. His second strikeout to go with the 2 walks. And that brings up Tony Bernazard, first and second, 1 out. Bernazard on the replay, hitting 219, 5 homers, 22 driven in. He hit 250 real world. He will eventually, I don't know the date yet, but he will eventually get traded to Oakland. But right now he is with Cleveland. 6-4, switch hitter batting left. That's an in-home run chance, 1-19. That's a 4, and he has normal power. So Tony Bernazard hits his home run number 6, RBIs 23, 24, and 25, and Cleveland takes a 3-0 lead. Look at it again, 6-4 is an in-home run chance, 1-19, and he has the normal power against the lefties, also against righties as well. Bernazard hit 14 home runs real world. This is home run number 6, and it's a 3-run homer, the classic Earl Weaver 3-run home run. Didn't even need Fenway Park for this one. And Cleveland takes a 3-0 lead here in the second inning. Bruce Hurst in more trouble than usual. Here's Rick Dempsey. He's hitting 230 on the replay, a homer and 11 driven in. He at 177 real world. That's a 3-8, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Hurst. But damage was already done by Bernazard with a 3-run homer. Here's Butler. 6'6" lefty. That's a double to center field for Butler. Keeps the inning going. And now here's Julio Franco in a clutch situation against the lefty. He is not very good. Loses hits on 1-8, 1-9, and 1-10, and also on 3-10. So there's 3 different spots he loses hits as he's anti-clutch. But if we're on Hurst card, doesn't matter. Struck out number 4 for Hurst. But the 3-run ding from Tony Bernazard gives Cleveland a 3-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the second. And Tom Candiotti given a lead to protect. He'll be facing right fielder Mike Greenwell. Not sure what's going on with Dwight Evans. He's on the roster. He just hasn't started for a couple of games. So I guess he's in real world. He must have had a nagging injury or something like that. I don't know. But he is on the roster. He's just not starting. So the Red Sox have shuffled between Mike Greenwell and Dave Henderson in right field in his absence. But Evans is available to pinch hit, so, or play defense or whatever. So here's Greenwell. He's hitting 368 on the replay, 8 homers, 19 driven in. He at 328 real world. 5-10, and that's a base on balls from Candiotti, his second walk. Walk number 2. And Tim says that Cleveland lost this game real world 10-6. Well, we got a long way to go. So, I mean, 10-6 is not out of the question in this one. Cleveland's done their part to get half of that, but Boston can certainly put up 10 runs against the Cleveland pitching staff, no problem, especially getting the bullpen. Greenwell, not really going to go anywhere. They'll hold him on, but he won't go anywhere. And here's Jim Rice. Rice is hitting 322, 3 homers, 19 driven in. He at 277 real world. So he's having a good start to his 87 season. 6-8, and that's a strikeout for Candiotti. His first. And that'll do it for Rice. Here comes Billy Buckner. Buckner hitting 256 on the replay. 3 homers, 20 driven in. He at 286 real world. So Bill Buckner. 2-8 for Buckner, and that's going to be a pop-up to the shortstop, Julio Franco, for out number 2. And that'll bring it to Rich Gedman, their catcher. Gedman hitting 163 on the replay, no homers, 5 driven in. He at 205 real world. Greenwell still perched at first base with 2 outs. 3-9, and that is a ground ball to first. Easy play for Tabler. And that's going to do it for Boston. We go to the third. It is Cleveland 3 and Boston nothing. 3-run home run from Tony Bernazard has given the Tribe that lead. Oh, hello, Kathy. I did not know it was National Coffee Day. Well, of course, got to have the coffee. I mean, if it's National Coffee Day, you got to have that. And of course, everybody be ready for next inning, top of the fourth, a trivia question. But between in the third inning, just enjoy your coffee and put your thinking caps on. How about that? So Pat Tabler will lead off for Cleveland. Hurst trying to get back in the groove after giving up that 3-run home run. 4-11, and that's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Jim Rice. He's a 4E7. Devil Die cooperates with a 12, so he should get to that no problem. 4 and a 12 is barely. 4 and a 12 is an F1. 4 and 11 would have been a hit. Actually, 4 and a 12. He's a 13. That's a 13, and he's an E7. No 13 there. So Jim Rice, it wasn't pretty, but he got up to it and made the catch. Made the catch for one away, and that's all that counts. And here comes the ever-struggling Joe Carter. And I don't know why he's the one guy in particular in this replay that's like 100 points off his average almost. I mean, it's noticeably painful to watch him play in this replay because he just is not, his card is just not doing what it should be doing. 5-3 is a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Greenwell. He's a 4E10. Now, it doesn't mean he won't get his hot second half and turn it around, but we don't know that. 4 and a 13, so that's no problem. That is a 7. Greenwell's an E10. That could be a problem. E10, but there's no 7. So Greenwell makes the play. So 2, if he plays in the outfield, but they're both taken care of and secured by Rice and Greenwell. 2 down for Carmen Castillo. He singled and scored his first time up. 5-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. Marty Barrett, 2E11. 2E11, and I didn't do my homework. I was supposed to go and look at the X chances on these pitchers and see how many X chances each pitcher had, but I didn't do that. So maybe I'll do that sometime this week. I don't know. But there's been 3 X chances in this inning. All 3 plays have been X chances. So Barrett's a 2E11. 2 and 18 is good. E11, and that is a 9. That shouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think. Nope. 11, 15, 17, and 18 only errors. So 1, 2, 3 this time for Bruce Hurst. And we go to the bottom of the third. Still 3-0 Cleveland. And we start the bottom of the third with Spike Owen, the number 9 hitter for Boston. He's hitting 197 on the replay, a homer and 3 driven in. He hit 258 real world, actually 259 real world. So he's definitely slumping a bit. 1-7, and that's a fly to right field, so that's not going to help him any further with his average. So Candiotti has negotiated the first time through the Boston order without any issues. Let's see what he does this time. Here's Ellis Burks. 110 for Burks. That's a single. There's an anti-clutch, but we're not in that situation, so Burks will get the base hit, and that's the first hit for the Red Sox in the ball game. Burks will be looking to get the lead, though, with that +3 hold quotient. 1 to 5 or 6 gets him a 19 lead. That's a 7, so he doesn't quite get it. He'll hold. Here's Barrett. He had a sacrifice bunt his first time up. 4-7, and that's a base on balls by Candiotti. That'll be number 3 for him. Third walk of the ball game in just the third inning. Not good because now you're bringing up Wade Boggs and Don Baylor with men on base. Not what you want to do. Here's Boggs. 4-5, and that's a pop out to second. Boy, a big out there to get as he pops him up to Bernazard, 2 down. And now it's going to be up to Don Baylor in the clutch. And Baylor is neutral in that clutch rating. At least against right-handers he is. It looks like he's against left-handers as well. So neutral all the way around. 1-5, and he grounds it to third. And how about that? Candiotti gets out of the inning again. Red Sox put some runners on, but they don't break through for any runs. And at the end of 3 complete, it is Cleveland 3 and Boston nothing. So now we direct your attention to the chat for Kathy. She's got a trivia question, I think it's about bonehead baseball plays or something like that. So put your thinking caps on and see if you can figure out what kind of bonehead play she might be referring to. In 1981, Lenny Randle had enough of a ball rolling down the third baseline for a bunt. What did he do? He tried to blow it foul, and it didn't work. It stayed fair, but he got down on his hands and knees and tried to blow it foul. Hello, Mark. Good to see you. You were also correct, Mark. Absolutely. He didn't actually succeed at doing it, but he tried. But that's what I remember that highlight on one of those baseball shows. It was either on This Week in Baseball or one of those blooper shows. And hello, ID. No, I'm not going to have a rant today. At least not planned. If a rant comes out now, it'll be totally impromptu. Tim, actually, Lenny Randle came up with Texas. He got traded to the Mets when he punched out his manager in spring training, Steve Lucchesi, back in 1977. He got traded to the Mets after that incident. If you go back and watch my old, when I was doing my White Sox 1977 replay, I also tried to do a Cubs replay at the same time, but that kind of faded off. But if you go back to watch one of the first videos in the Cubs replay, I gave up, and I actually put on an interview from a guy who was on the Rangers at the time, and he talked about the incident with Lenny Randle. So that was pretty cool. Pitcher named Mike Wallace, a relief pitcher named Mike Wallace, who pitched in the 70s. He was on Nats Talk on Mid-Atlantic Sports Network, and when I called into the show and asked about that incident, he talked about it, and I recorded it and put it on the video. That was spring training 77. That's because Lenny Randle, the whole story was Lenny Randle was assuming he was going to be the starting second baseman in 1977, but Texas had this young guy named Bump Wills that took over that spot and earned it in spring training, and Lenny Randle didn't like it. That's kind of the gist I got from it. All right, so everyone, like that band Hot Chocolate from the 1970s says, everyone's a winner. If you remember that song. Everyone's a winner. All right, here we go. Top of the fourth, Brooke Jacoby. Thank you, Kathy, for the question. 1-4 against a lefty is, oh boy, 1-5 would have been a home run chance, but a 1-4 is a ground ball to box. One away. One down. And that takes us to Mr. Mr. Corey Snyder. He struck out his first chance. 1-11, and he's going to hit a fly ball to center field for Ellis Burks. That's 2 away. Tony Bernazar at the batter. He hit that 3-run homer his first time up. 5-3, switch hitter batting right-handed. Fly ball right field extra back to Greenwell. 4E10. 4E10. 4-11. He'll get to it. E10 and a 12. We know 4-11 he gets. No, he won't get to it. I take it back. 4-11 he will not, because we did the 12. This is actually going to be a single. The 4-11 is actually going to be a single. That's a 12 on an E10. There is no 12, but it won't be an error, but it will be a single. as Greenwell unable to reach that. Of course, that's one that Dwight Evans would have secured easily. But that's the downfall of having a 4-rated right fielder. All right, so Bernazard, if he wants to get the lead, it would be rough because that -3 hold. If he got the lead, it'd be a 50-50 proposition. But you know what? The bottom of with Rick Dempsey coming up, well, actually, no. They're not going to send him because they want to clear Rick Dempsey and have Brett Butler lead off as a worst-case scenario. So they will not send him. Here's Dempsey. 2-8 for Dempsey. And how about that? A 1-2 would be a double, but the double dies of 12 for a fly out to end the inning. But by not risking it, if he gets thrown out, you got Dempsey leading off the top of the 5th. Now you got Brett Butler leading off the top of the 5th, which is a much better proposition if you are a Cleveland Indians concerner. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 3-0. We do have a trivia question, second trivia question on top of the 5th. So be ready for that. Hello, Bob. Good to see you. Didn't see you sneak in there. Kathy said it's National Coffee Day, so hopefully everybody's got their coffee, if you are a coffee drinker. And, of course, I can't think about coffee and ID Jester without thinking about the Stratomatic rant and the analogies with the coffee shops, which was very well done, as a matter of fact. Very, very well done. Hello, World's Worst. All right, so here's Don Baylor. Wait a minute. Why do I have Baylor? No, I didn't move Baylor. Baylor made the last out last inning. It's actually Greenwell. Greenwell. Here's your batter. Against Candiotti. That's going to be a 2-9, and he will get a leadoff single. Leadoff single for Greenwell. Greenwell going to hold for Jim Rice. You don't want to take the bat out of Rice's hands. Down by 3. You need base runners. 1-5, and that's a fly to center field. Brett Butler tracks it down. 2 down for Bill Buckner. And at the 7th inning stretch, I will show again the standings for those that came in late, so you can see how the league is doing right now. I'll show that the 7th inning stretch. Here's Buckner. That's a 2-8, and that's a pop out to short. 2 down for Rich Gedman. Gedman grounded out to Tabler's first time up at first base. That's a 3-7, and that's going to be a strikeout. That is only the second strikeout for Candiotti. But how about that? Candiotti is shutting out the Red Sox at Fenway Park through the first 4 innings. Who'd have thunk that when he came into the game with such a high ERA and no wins? But he's on a task to try to get his first win of the season. All right, so we are at the top of the 5th, and we have another baseball bonehead trivia question coming up, so be on the lookout for that. I don't know if Tim gave a spoiler on it or whether there's a different question. I don't know. I do remember the Paul O'Neill punting, though. I do remember that. Anyone remember David Cohn in 1991 has an umpire involved? 1991. That one's got me a little stumped. I can't think of that one off the top of my head, so maybe somebody can come up with what happened with Cohn in 1991 and an umpire being involved. I don't think he bumped an umpire or anything. I'm not sure what was going on with that. And as Jeff used to say, no Googling. That's cheating. So we're trying to do these things organically without having any assistance from the outside AI world. Let's see. All right, so Tim kind of remembers it, but doesn't know the exact thing that happened there. Is it something where he like argued with the umpire and held the ball and base runners went around the bases or something? I mean, I have no idea. I don't even know who was on. Was he on the Mets in 91 or was he with Kansas City? I mean, I'm not even sure where he was in 1991. Okay, so that's what it was. He didn't call timeout and 2 runs scored. Okay. Was he with the Mets? Was that a Mets game or was he in Kansas City? I don't remember which team he was on in '91. I know he was on one of the two, but I don't remember what team he was on. I'm thinking he was with the Mets in '91, but heck, I can't remember. He was one of those traveling guys that played on so many teams back in the day. I think he made it with the Yankees and Toronto and Kansas City and the Mets. There's at least 4 teams I know of that he played for. Probably played for more, but those are the ones I remember off the top of my head. All right, so we are at the top. Oh, why do I have these guys up here? We are at the top of the fifth. It's Cleveland's turn to bat. Yes, it would, Bob, but I don't remember if he was with the Mets or whether he was with KC in '91. I didn't look it up, so don't know. All right. So Brett Butler will lead us off here in the top of the sixth. Thank you for that question, Kathy. Top of the sixth. I agree, ID. If you got a good coffee company across the street, unless the coffee at the other shop it just tastes so much better than the coffee across the street. That's the only downside for a lot of us, myself included. This coffee, this coffee tastes so much better than any other coffee out there that we will put up with some minor inconveniences to enjoy the premium coffee rather than go to a discount coffee shop and get some more amenities, but not quite the good coffee. So that's just everybody has their likes and dislikes. Some people say would say that payoff pitch or inside pitch would be the premium. So it just depends on your choice of coffee, I guess. All right, here is. Oh, so it was with the Mets in '91. Cool. All right. He was on the Blue Jays in '92. He got on the World Series team. I remember that. All right, here's Brett Butler. 1-6 against the lefty. He draws a base on balls. So leadoff walk. That's usually a bad sign for a pitcher to walk the leadoff guy, especially a base stealer like Brett Butler. So Butler is aboard. To get the lead, he needs a 2 through 8 or a 12. 2 through 8 or a 12. He gets the 3, so he's got the lead. 15 being held as a 13, but the -3 makes him a 10. So it's a 50-50 shot. A total Stratomatic stolen base attempt right here, 50-50. And he got caught stealing. Boy, at 19, he got caught stealing no matter what on that one. So Gedman throws out Butler trying to steal. Putting the tag on was Marty Barrett. 2-4 if you're scoring at home, and you should be. Here's Julio Franco. 4-9, and that is a fly to right field, 2 down. And that will send up Pat Tabler. 4-8, and that's a strikeout for Hurst. So after the walk, Hurst recovers and picks up strikeout number 4 to go with, strikeout number 5 to go with walk number 3. And he makes it through 5 innings. Still in the game. Both pitchers have fatigue of 7. So they're nowhere near being tired just yet. All right, here is Spike Owen, and we have a third trivia question on music is the category at the top of the 7th. Here's Spike Owen. Spike Owen flew to right first time up. That's a 1-8, and that's a base on balls. So another leadoff walk. Spike Owen's going to try to get the lead because that +3 over there is very tempting. That's a 5. He does get the lead. It's a 2 or a 4 through 6. The 5 fits. That's a 15. Being held as a 13, but then the +3 is a 16. 1-16, he will go. And he's got caught stealing. Boy, at 17. Boy, the devil die is going in reverse on these stolen base chances. And 2 caught stealings in a row after they were walked to lead off the inning. But when you roll a 17 and a 19 on the D20 What are you supposed to do? All right, so Spike Owen is out of there. You say, why are you stealing when you're down 3-0? I mean, it's a 1 to 16 chance. You got to get something started. Just some bad luck. 3-7, and that is a ground ball to short for out number 2. Marty Barrett, 6-8, and that's another strikeout for Candiotti. That'll be strikeout number 3 for him, and he has tossed 5 shutout innings at the Red Sox, and this game is not going like the real game was 10-6 with Boston winning. Boston's getting shut out through 5 innings. So unless they get to the bullpen and start really hammering away at the Cleveland bullpen, this is not looking good for the Red Sox. All right, top of the 6th, then Joe Carter, the struggling Joe Carter, 3-2. That's a first ballpark single, first ballpark check of any kind in this game. Took us to the 6th inning to do it. It's a ballpark single, which is a 1 to 15, and Joe Carter barely gets it. So Carter does take advantage of Fenway Park and gets the single. He has a 2 through 5 to obtain a good lead. That's a 2. He's going to go. 19 being held is a 17, and then the -3 would be a 14. So 1 to 14, you're still talking a 70% chance. So you got to send it. And he thrown out for the 3rd time. Unbelievable. 3 caught stealings on double die rolls of 19, 17, and 17. I don't think I've ever seen 3 rolls that high before on stolen base chances. Unbelievable. I don't do a hit and run ID. It's the worst strategy move in baseball, according to Earl Weaver, and I agree with him. 2-7, and that is a strikeout. 2 down. Here's Jacoby. 2-6, and that is a 1 to 4 single, but the double die is a 19, and he lines it to short, and that will end the inning. So Bruce Hurst makes it through 6 innings, but still trails 3-0. You will never, pretty much almost never see me do a hit and run. I mean, I may do one the whole season. I mean, you're not going to see me bunt very often either, but definitely hit and run is definitely low on my totem pole list. If I do it ID, I'll pick a game where it's not, where 2 teams are not in the playoff standings, and it doesn't matter, and I can do some experimentation. That's when I might start experimenting. So I got 2 crappy teams. Well, I could do it here because these are both crappy teams. 2-5, and that's going to be a ground ball to second. 1 away. Maybe I'll do one in this game ID just for you. I don't know. Here's Baylor, but we run out of innings. Here's Baylor. 4-8, and that's a strikeout for Candiotti, his 4th. There's a dot there, but he has not reached fatigue yet. And here's Greenwell. 2-12 for Greenwell, and he's going to foul it out to Dempsey. And how about that? Candiotti, 6 shutout innings, courtesy of Tom Candiotti. The knuckleball must be dancing because the Red Sox haven't figured it out yet for whatever reason. But we go to the 7th inning. It is 3-0 favor of Cleveland. And we are entering the fatigue inning for both starting pitchers, so be aware of that. And also now be aware of a trivia question, music-oriented trivia question. So put your music thinking caps on and see if you can figure out which music is being asked about. Billy Joel's song, We Didn't Start the Fire, name 5 presidents, all 5. You get 2 purple jelly beans. Okay. Actually, that's a song that it's in my top 5 songs of I Can't Stand. It's just a horrible song, in my opinion. I just don't like it. I can list you about 3 or 4 songs that just were popular, but I just every time I hear them, I just turn to listen to something else. So I don't know anything about the presence in that song because I never listened. I listened to it one time, and it just annoyed me, and I never went back to it. So, but anybody else that wants, I like Billy Joel as a musician. I just don't like that song. And I can list off a couple of other songs that were popular in the day, but I just couldn't stand them. Truman, Nixon, Reagan, JFK, and Eisenhower. I have no idea, Tim, if that's right or wrong. I have no idea whatsoever because I can't stand that song. I like Billy Joel as an artist. I just didn't like that song. So we'll wait for Kathy to give us the official, and then I'll give the standings once we get this resolved. Tim got it. Okay, good deal, Tim. Nixon was missing twice. Okay, double dipped on Nixon. Okay, cool. I could give you three songs off the top of my head without having to think a long time as the three songs that were popular by the masses just based on where they were in the charts, but I just didn't like them. And that was one of them. That We Didn't Start the Fire was definitely one of them. I give you three more. And these were popular songs. So it's not like I'm picking songs that were bad. These are songs that everybody, when I say everybody, I mean the consensus was these were good songs that people liked, but I just couldn't stand them. And one of them was "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. It might be my top song on that list. But the other songs were "Love Shack" by the B-52s, and never cared for that song. "She Drives Me Crazy" by the not so fine Young Cannibals. Didn't like that song either. And also, and I hate to say it because it's a Beatles guy, but I could not stand that George Harrison song where it says "I got my mind set on you," and I think Weird Al did a parody on it saying this song is just six words long because he just repeated the same stuff over and over and over. It was horrible, but people liked it. I don't know why. So those are my top four songs that to me were trash that people liked. I don't know. So like I said, they were popular. I just didn't care for them. Hello, Robert. Good to see you. We are now. Oh, I was going to do the standings, so let me do that before I forget. For those that came in late, these are the current standings through the date of May 24th, 1987. The Brewers and the Blue Jays are tied for the division lead. The Yankees are a game back. Detroit is 6 games back. In the West, everyone other than Seattle is still in it, and technically, I guess Seattle could still be in it because if they get on a hot streak. But right now, this gives you the Stratomatic computer gives you what they were in real world and what they did in the replay. So Seattle is 6 games under what they did in real world. That's the only one that's really, really off. Baltimore is also 6 games under. But most other teams are pretty much like Boston's right where they were, 17 and 25. Detroit, like 1 game difference there. So Milwaukee is 4 games better because in real world, when Molitor got hurt, they swooned a little bit. But in this replay, they have not swooned. So, I like Final Countdown. That's one they use. They use at a lot of the ballpark, football stadiums or baseball stadiums or whatever. Uptown Girls. It was okay. Nothing good or bad for me on that one. But I don't know if I have a favorite Billy Joel song. It'd be too easy to say Piano Man, so I'm not going to say that one. But I kind of like It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. I think that's one of my favorite Billy Joel songs. It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. I did buy and this is showing my age, of course. Of course, everybody here is probably my age, but I did buy the LP, the original LP of Glass Houses, which was the album that had the Still Rock and Roll to Me song on it. So, anyway, yeah, there's two versions of two different Pressure songs, one by Queen with David Bowie and one with Billy Joel, both called different songs, but they're both called Pressure. All right, so here's Bruce Hurst to Corey Snyder. 1-5, and that's a strikeout. So Hurst with strikeout number 7 on the replay, but he's behind 3-0. So strikeouts are good if you're winning, but not if you're losing. So Snyder out on strikes, and Bernazard responsible for the only 3 runs of the game with a 3-run homer back in the second inning. 5-5, switch hitter batting right-handed. It's a fly ball to center. Burks handles it, 2 down. And Hurst may make it through his fatigue inning with no damage done. Dempsey, normally I'd pinch hit for him, but 2 reasons. You don't want to mess up the pitcher-catcher chemistry they've got going. Plus, they're ahead 3-0. And there's 2 outs, nobody on, so there's no point pinch hit for him. Let him swing away. 6-8, and he draws a base on ball. I'm sorry, 6-8 to lefty. No, against the righty. It's a base on ball. So walk number 3. Or is that? No, I'm sorry, walk number 4 to go with 7 strikeouts. Dempsey, of course, will not be held. And here's Brett Butler. It's a 5-7, and that's another walk. So now Hurst, all of a sudden, 1 batter away from being fatigued with this walks. That's walk number 5 to go with 7 strikeouts. And Julio Franco, the batter. All right, so now, what do you do with Franco? Do they bring in a righty reliever to pitch to Franco, or do you let Hurst keep going? I think he's earned the right to keep going myself. If he gives up another hit, he's coming out. 3-9, and that's a walk. He's going to walk the bases loaded. Now you have to take him out. Can't let him walk the bases loaded like that and keep him in the game. He just hit a wall all of a sudden with 3 consecutive walks for Bruce Hurst. So he is gone. Bruce Hurst is out of there. 6 2/3 for Hurst. And he is officially tired, so he definitely has to get out of there. So we'll go to the bullpen. We'll get the numbers on Hurst except for the runs. Hurst went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, so far to 3 runs, but he is responsible for the bases being loaded. He walked 6. That was part of his undoing, and he struck out 8 because a walk was also part of that 3-run homer. So we go to the bullpen for the Red Sox and see which right-hander they can bring in that's not tired. You got Gardner. Yeah, so it's going to be wet. Let's see. Do they go to Gardner or do they go to they're going to go to Wes Gardner. He had 10 saves on the season. So Wes Gardner, not to be confused with Dave Gardner. Wes Gardner. Wes Gardner is going to come on for the Red Sox to take over for Bruce Hurst. Gardner in real world 3-6 with a 5.42 ERA and 10 saves. On the replay, he is 1-0 with a save, but a 6.31 earned run average. 26 innings pitched, 34 hits, 11 walks, and 22 strikeouts. The bases are loaded. Let's check Gardner's hold rating. He is a -5, so definitely good there, but not a situation where somebody's going to steal any bases. Bases are loaded here in the top of the 7th of a 3-0 game. Cleveland looking to put this thing away. Gardner trying to hold on and keep his team in the game. Here's Tabler, who is 0 for 3. 4-7, and that's a ground ball second base exit. It's up to Marty Barrett, 2-11. So Marty Barrett has a chance to get him out of the inning. Double Die cooperates with an 18, so he'll get to it. He's an E11, and that is a 9. Second baseman E11. There is no 9, so Marty Barrett makes the play. And Mr. Gardner comes in and gets the Red Sox out of a big-time jam. We can close the book on Hurst now. So we go to the seventh inning stretch after that long inning there that with all those walks, they just couldn't stay with Bruce Hurst anymore. Just no way to do it. No way to do it at all. So here we go to the bottom of the seventh. I'm going to keep rolling here on the seventh inning stretch. And Jim Rice will be up against, followed by Buckner and Gedman. Again, this is the fatigue inning for Candiotti as well. 2-5 for Rice. That's a ground ball to short. Candiotti pitching the game of the season for him. And that'll bring up Billy Buck. 5-6, and that's a 1 for a double, but anything else he flies to right. So Double Die tried to mess it up with a 4, but it didn't get low enough. And that's a fly out by Buckner. Here's Rich Gedman. That's a 4-6, and that's a base on balls for Candiotti. And for Candiotti, that is walk number 5. That'll bring up Spike Owen. So it's hitting shortstop. It's a 1-8, and that's going to be another walk. So now all of a sudden, Candiotti facing the same thing that Hurst did, getting the first 2 outs and now walking guys. One more base runner, he will be fatigued. And now the tying run is coming to the plate in Ellis Burks. But the problem with Cleveland is, who do you go to in the bullpen that you trust? Not that many there. Here's Burks. 6-7, and that is a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Julio Franco, 2E26 to get him out of the inning. The white die didn't go through, so I got to re-roll everything. Double die comes up as a 2. Do you believe that? Unbelievable. Double die comes up as a 2. 2 and a 2 is a single 1 star. It's going to load the bases. That's a 7 on an E26. There is no 7, but it's going to be a single that loads the bases. Do the re-roll the double die. And now Candiotti is tired. But boy, who do you go to in the bullpen that's worth anything? Tim, you're the Cleveland fan. Maybe I'll leave it up to you. If you want to keep Candiotti out there that's as he is fatigued, or we've got Scott Bales and Ed Vandenberg from the left side, or you got Mark Huseman or Ernie Camacho from the right side. A little early for Camacho in the 7th inning, I would think. But if you want to make the managerial move on that one, Tim, since you are a Tribe fan, I will let you do that if you wish, or I will make the decision myself. Whatever I'll give you a minute or so to chime in if you would wish to do so. If not, I will go ahead and make the call on my own. Assuming he's still here and didn't go off to do something else or step away or whatever. Give him just a few more seconds, and then I'll have to decide on something. All right, he may have stepped away, or maybe just going to defer to me one way or the other. I don't know. So Marty Barrett is going to be up there with the bases loaded and 2 outs. But in my opinion, Tom Candiotti has earned the right to pitch to Barrett. He is pitching a shutout, going for his first win. So despite being tired, I'm going to let him pitch to Marty Barrett. Now, if it doesn't get Barrett, they'll bring in a lefty to face Wade Boggs. But we're going to go ahead and pitch to Barrett. Bases loaded, 2 outs. That's a 2. Chance for the balk or pass ball. That's a pass ball rating. Dempsey's pass ball rating is a 3. No pass ball. So Dempsey blocks it, keeps it in front of him. Here's the pitch to Barrett. That's a 3-5, and that is a, oh, look at this. Marty Barrett, a 3-5 is a single, but it's clutch or anti-clutch as the case goes. So Marty Barrett will lose the hit on the anti-clutch 3-5, and Candiotti escapes the 7th inning because of the anti-clutch 3-5 anti-clutch single. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and Marty Barrett chokes in the clutch. And Candiotti is able to get out of the mess. And I believe that will be all for Candiotti. They will go to Ed Vandenberg. They will go to Ed Vandenberg in the 8th inning. So Candiotti is going to pitch 7 shutout innings. Pretty good in my opinion. Only 3 hits allowed. He gave up a single to Burks, a single to Greenwell, and a single to Burks again. But he did walk 6. And that was it. There's been 12 walks in the game. I mean, that's, through 7 innings to get 12 walks total in the game is pretty bad. So neither starting pitcher had the strike zone conquered for sure. Candiotti 6 walks and 4 strikeouts. But he is in line to get his first win if the bullpen can hold it. Right now we go to the top of the 8th, and Wes Gardner will come back out. He got out of the bases loaded jam in the top of the 7th. And it'll be Joe Carter, Carmen Castillo, and Brooke Jacoby. That's a 111 for Carter. He's going to pop it up to first, and his struggles definitely continue. But these are as-played lineups, so we can't bench him. Here's Castillo. 1-3. It's a ground ball to Barrett. That's 2 down. And Gardner holding his own in relief. Here's Brooke Jacoby. 6-5 for Gardner. That's a base on balls. First base runner allowed by Gardner. That's going to be another walk. Walk number 13 in the game combined. And here brings up Corey Snyder. That's a 2. Chance for a balk or pass ball. We're looking at the pass ball rating of Gedman, which is a 12. So that can be pretty rough. And he does allow the pass ball. So pass ball on Gedman puts the runner in scoring position. Mr. Jacoby, he doesn't run that well. He will not be held. He runs at an 11. That's another 2. Chance for another pass ball or balk. This time we're looking at the balk rating on Wes Gardner. Let's see what his balk rating is. Got a computer for that one. Gardner's balk rating is a 0, so he cannot balk. He is not going to balk. So we reset. Kobe at second. 2 down for Corey Snyder. Another 2. How many times can we? I'm not going to go through. We've already gone through it twice. I'm not doing this again. Command decision on that. 4-9. And that's a ballpark blast by Corey Snyder. It's 1-10, and that's a 5. Corey Snyder, a 2-run home run thanks to Fenway Park. Look at it again. 4-9 is the ballpark blast. He has normal power against righties. Home runs are a 10, and that's a 5. Corey Snyder, his 6th home run of the season. RBIs number 19 and 20 on the season. And Cleveland jumps out to a 5-0 lead. Home run from Corey Snyder. Here's Bernazar. Speaking of home runs, he had a 3-run home run in the 2nd inning. 6-6 switch hitter bang left is a base on balls. Yet another walk for Gardner. And now he's tired. But he gets to face Rick Dempsey, and they're not going to pull Rick Dempsey. So he'll get a break possibly facing Rick Dempsey. Dempsey is 0 for 2 with a walk. That's a 4-12. It's ground ball back to Gardner, and that's going to end the inning. But the damage done on the 2-run bomb by Corey Snyder. And we go to the bottom of the 8th with the score. Now Cleveland out in front 5-0. And new pitcher for the Tribe will be Ed Vandenberg. Left-hander on the season, on the actual season, he was 1-0 with a 5.10 ERA, 72 innings pitched and 96 hits. A lot of hits allowed by Vandenberg. Let's see what he's doing on the replay. Vandenberg, there you are. On replay, Vandenberg is 3-1 with a save, but his ERA is 8.86. 21 innings pitched, 37 hits, 8 walks, and 13 strikeouts. So definitely not the best in the world, but you got a 5-0 lead, so you can use them. It's a 3-6 to Boggs. That's a 1-7 single, but that's a 19, so Boggs will line it to second, and there's one away. That'll send up Don Baylor. 1-6, and that's a ground ball to third, 2 down. For Greenwell, 1-10, and that's a ground ball back to Vandenberg. That's going to end the inning. Thought about pinch hitting for Greenwell, but his 2 outs base is empty, so what's the point? I didn't really see any use in it, so I didn't do it. So this was Vandenberg. Need to write his name in there. And he's got fatigue of 2, so he can come back and pitch the 9th as well. He's a -4 hold, so that makes him a -3. So easy 1-2-3 inning for Vandenberg. It'll be Butler, Franco, and Tabler due up for the Red Sox. That's going to be it for Gardner. Gardner's going to go an inning and a third. He's going to give up 2. See how many hits to give up. He gave up just the 1 hit, the home run, but the 2 walks, especially the first walk, was not a good thing for him to do. So a hit, 2 runs, 2 walks, and no strikeouts. And the Red Sox will need a new pitcher. And they will go to left-hander Tom Bolton in mop-up duty. Tom Bolton. Not to be confused with Michael Bolton. Let's see, -2, but I don't think that matters at this point. In the real season, Bolton was 1-0 with a 4.38 earned run average, 62 innings pitched, and 83 hits allowed. So a lot of hits again being allowed. We'll go to the computer and get Bolton's replay numbers. He hasn't pitched that much. He's a recent call-up. So he hasn't had a whole lot of experience in the replay so far. What he has done is no wins, no losses, no saves, a 4.76 earned run average, 11 innings pitched, 13 hits, 6 walks, and 11 strikeouts. And he'll be facing the speedy Brett Butler. Butler has walked twice, hit a double, and struck out, so he's actually 1 for 2. So 1-7, and he's going to walk again. Third walk given to Butler. And I believe that's walk number 14 on the game combined. Up 5-0. I think they will go ahead and just keep Butler where he is and not worry about trying to get a steal. Or will they? Nah, they're going to 5-0. They're not going to try anything. Bolton to Franco. 6-10. That's a fly ball center field X. We're looking at Burks. He's a 2E5. 2 and a 5. That could be interesting, but I think he'll get to it. We shall soon find out. 2 and a 5 he does. That's a 7, and he's an E5, so that's not a problem. So Burks is able to make the play for out number 1. 1 down, and that will send up Pat Tabler. Tabler is 0 for 4 in this ball game. 4-7. 4-7 is going to be a single, and it is to left field, so they'll hold Butler at second base. So first and second, 1 out for Joe Carter. Maybe this is where Joe Carter starts to get well and does something. 3-6. Yeah, he does something all right. He grounds into a double play, 4-3. He's just the one guy that just has a miserable replay. That's all there is to it. Miserable replay for Joe Carter. He had 264 real world, or 264 real world with 32 home runs. In the replay, he's now hitting below 180 with only 7 home runs. So just not a good replay for Joe Carter for whatever reason. I don't know why the Stratomatic gods are seeing fit to give him problems, but that's just what it is. Bolton goes 1 inning, gives up a hit and a walk. Nothing else. So we go to the bottom of the ninth. Last chance for the Red Sox, and they'll have to do it with Rice, Buckner, and Gedman. Although there will be some pinch hitting here because Gedman, a weak hitter, and they want to bring in a righty to pinch hit. So we might see Dwight Evans pinch hit, or we might see Dave Henderson pinch hit. Let's see what they might want to do here. They're going to pinch hit for Buckner. So Henderson will pinch hit for Buckner. And then we'll get a pinch hitter for Gedman as well. So Dave Henderson's going to pinch hit in the ninth for Buckner. And then they need a right-hander. They'll get Dwight Evans. Of course, we've got spam calls coming in. We got Dwight Evans, who will pinch hit for Rich Gedman. So we have two pinch hitters in the ninth for Boston. Just so you don't think I'm totally giving up on the Red Sox and not trying. So Jim Rice will lead things off against Vandenberg. 5-0 game. It's a 2-7, and that's a single for Jim Rice. Leadoff single. Now Ernie Macho Camacho loosening the bullpen for the Indians just in case Vandenberg should struggle. Here's the pinch hitter, Dave Henderson, for Billy Buckner. Buckner was 0 for 3. Doesn't do all that well against lefties. So they'll bring in Hindu, Dave Henderson, to pinch hit. On the replay, Henderson is hitting 225, 7 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 234 real world. Vandenberg to Henderson. 210, and that's a ground ball shortstop A. Hits into another double play, 6-4-3. That's a way to kill a rally right there. So quickly 2 away. Buckner's like, I could have done that. And actually on a 210, I know you can't, it's not comparisons because had I not made the switch, the dice would have turned out differently, but it would have been a ballpark single for Buckner. But you don't know that before you roll the dice. So just how it is, kind of. All right. So 2 outs, base is clear, and we're going to have actually, Dwight. I was going to give Dwight Evans the game off, but we'll go ahead and let him. We'll go ahead. I already wrote him in, so we'll go ahead and let him pinch hit. We'll ask him to trot out there and do a pinch hitting appearance. Mr. Evans. On the replay, Dwight Evans is hitting 333, 6 homers, 30 driven in. He hit 305 real world. It's 2-5, and that's a ballpark blast for Evans. 1-10, but the double die is a 20. So deep fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. And the Cleveland Indians shut out the Boston Red Sox 5-0. That stellar pitching tandem of Tom Candiotti and Ed Vandenberg shut out the Red Sox on just 4 hits. How do you like that? 5-7-0 for Cleveland, 0-4-0 for Boston. Tom Candiotti gets his first win of the season to improve to 1-5. Bruce Hurst takes the loss to drop to 1-6 on the replay. Cleveland now improves to 17-26. Boston drops to 17-26. They are now in a last place tie with the Orioles. They're all right there together. Those 3 teams are the bottom feeders of the AL East. The other 4 teams are in a class all their own as far as that race goes. So, all right. So let's look at the next game scheduled for tomorrow, according to our schedule. After we wrap this up, we'll see who's on the agenda. Of course, I'm trying to go east to west, but a lot of the West Coast teams are at home, so they'll be playing later in this date on the replay. So let's look and see who the next scheduled game is supposed to be. And we are looking at I'm guessing Chicago is Chicago further east than Detroit? I'm trying to picture the map in front of me. They're kind of about the same, but I think Chicago is a little bit more toward the east than Detroit is, but I could be wrong. But we're looking at the Kansas City Royals against the Chicago White Sox. Brett Saberhagen against Joel Davis. That'll be the next game. Game number 293 on the replay. Kansas City at Chicago. That'll be tomorrow morning. Brett Saberhagen against Joel Davis from Comiskey Park. So with this game added in now in the standings, Baltimore is 17-26. Boston is 17-26. I guess I wrote something down wrong for Cleveland. They were 17-26 coming in, so they're now 18-26. So I stand corrected. I didn't have my score sheet off because Cleveland was actually 17-26 coming into this. So they're now 18-26. Boston is 17-26. So Boston falls into a last place tie with Baltimore depending on what they do in their game. But these three teams are pretty much out of it. We're just looking at these four: Detroit, New York, Toronto, Milwaukee, where the West is wide open. And for the game tomorrow, Kansas City and Chicago. Kansas City is 1 game back of Oakland. Chicago is only 2.5 games back. So the whole West is wide open probably the whole season long, whereas the East is going to be pretty much a 4-team race, I'd imagine. So that's the game for tomorrow morning. Kansas City at Chicago. Brett Saberhagen against Joel Davis for the White Sox. So that's good to go from here. I am working on some other things other than Strat maybe to present in the upcoming times, but right now we're still on Strat, but I am doing some things in the background to possibly put out there. And we're talking about maybe some things in History Maker Baseball with the current season. So working on putting those teams together, the playoff teams. Now that the playoffs have been decided, sorry about RJL, your Mets kind of bit the dust there toward the end. They had a chance to get in the playoffs and lost to the lowly Marlins on the last day of the season and allowed the Cincinnati Reds to get in. So that's just the way it is. So anyway, that's going to do it from here. I do appreciate everybody who spent part of your Monday morning with me. Thank you, Kathy, for your trivia questions. Thank you for everyone else for participating in the trivia questions and general chat. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.